when I was starting in Jacksonville to do these 24-hour finals, we might have been the second center in the world to do it, somewhere around there, third. And it was exciting. We thought, listen, putting all of this tech together, getting teeth in right away, that's going to be what patients want.
Yeah.
And we found that was, over time, it probably took a good 4 years for me to really learn the lesson because it worked really well. And what we used to do is we would combine the technology that allowed us to do it was a lot of like face scan, right? We'd take a scan of the person's face so that the person on the computer designing the teeth could see where the nose was and the eyes and the ears and the heights and the different amount of lip support and things. And then you would combine that with the scans and you would build it to be a cohesive model of something, not something of their jaw. And that file then was made and produced and done into a final. And so let's talk real quick. We've kind of talked about with Dr. Lax before, there's different landmarks that give us guidance. If I'm looking at a patient and, the eyes are supposed to be equal with, parallel with the patient's set of teeth, their occlusion, their bite. And you can see that on a great scan, right? That was an expensive piece of equipment. It was something that had to go in every office that offered something quick to final. It was a way for our designers to have the confidence that they could make it. But you get all of those parts and pieces together and you line up everyone's schedule to make a final, and maybe the data was just a little bit different or the patient's preference was a little bit different. It can lead to a really disappointing scenario.
Yeah. I mean, I can see as the dentist being, disappointed that they're not as happy as you thought. And I can also see as a patient, like thinking you have this whole idea of what you're going to get and it's, not quite what you wanted. And it's probably let down for both. Definitely, I can see the frustrations on both ends.
It's a lot of decision making
for sure.
right up front.
Yeah.
Can you imagine in the consult, because that would be about when we would do it, taking the imaging, that's fine. You would, probably you would be involved in the image taking. But can you imagine sitting down and having them pick the color of teeth?
No.
And the size right away? It's tough.
Yeah. I'm such an indecisive person on like my personal decisions like that I don't even know how that would feel. And I already see our patients who they have a week over a week and they can still have, be a little indecisive, which is totally normal, but I can't imagine being like, this is the moment to pick out everything, the color, XYZ.
Yeah, it's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
And to give an example of the pressure, or even just, it's actually not even necessarily pressure. It's just, we have all had a scenario. I don't do a lot of shopping, but I ski a lot. There was a year where I saw a particular ski jacket and I loved it. I absolutely thought it was the coolest looking thing. And I loved where all the zippers were and just, I idolized or looked at it a lot. And I decided to get it or wanted to get it. And I walked into the store in one of those little ski, towns, walk in and try it on. It looks terrible on me. It just looks like, what are you trying to be 15 again? Just dumb. And I would have sworn to you that that's going to be the jacket I wear the rest of my life. And the point being is that was just a jacket. Yeah. And that was something that we all have worn clothes before. So I already know what colors and things I like. And I'm sure you can think of many examples of a dress you see on the rack and you say, oh, that'd be awesome. I can't wait for that one.
The most upset. It's so frustrating.
Right.
Like you said, it's just clothes, but this is your teeth, it's supposed to be permanent for you.
And the expense that goes into it too. And even if it looks good on you, maybe it was the wrong size because that particular brand runs different. And so you ran into a lot of those issues with going to a permanent final set of teeth right away, just on the selection and the patient satisfaction alone from the looks. Yeah. And I try to delineate for people too, it's not that a final doesn't work. And it's not that you can't get a good bite. The bite could be perfect. The color of the jacket could have been perfect.
Yeah.
But something could have been wrong just enough, and preference-wise, maybe it's like hugs you up, hugs you a little bit much, or you don't like the material. And that right away, you're already on the road of disappointment and frustration and sort of conflict.
Yeah.
That wasn't a great feeling. And the other part that goes into it too, as you know, this is a big psychological movement for these patients.
For sure.
And it's a journey that you, in a 24-hour final, you only get a very small snippet of the journey. And all of that emotion and all of that selection is packed into really a couple of visits.
Yeah.
And we used to see that patients would say, that's it? I've spent $35,000 on this, or $40,000, or whatever the number was.
What do you even say?
And you go, yeah, that's it. And they say, well, you didn't even do anything. It was like 2 hours of work. What did I pay for? Of course, there was a lot of work and scheduling. It was more expensive than it is now because there was a lot of lining up very highly specialized and highly trained people to get everything lined up to make the final overnight and such. We had a big lab staff at the time.
I can only imagine. What about like in the consult where patients, because I'm thinking about now, were they ever like, I don't get to try it in? Like, did anybody question that?
No, I think they were just mostly excited about having a very limited window of time that they're committed to it.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until we saw a lot of those frustrations that we started saying, okay, is there a better way to give them value and get the customization, but still accomplish all the goals? Because the goal, whether it be a 24-hour final or like ours, which is generally a 7-day process, the goal is to get the best, highest quality of teeth that you can in the mouth. Mm-hmm. And again, 24-hour final, you can get a good bite. You can get it down the center line. You can get good results. Yeah. And quickly, obviously. The difference is that it's how the patient feels. Yeah. And the patient is the most important, obviously.